We go to turn one. No, he's ripped off the front wing. The McLarens collide.
So let's get into the big talking point, and it starts with our second question of the show. Hi, Jolyon. What are your thoughts on the collision between Oscar and Lando? Well, it was the big one. Finally, the two McLarens have come together. It was a pretty good race from Lando up until that point, but I have to say this incident is pretty clear-cut too. It was a Norris error, and he admitted as much straight away. Let's have a look first at turn 10, because this is a beautiful move from Norris. From 2 car lengths back here, has a look down the inside. Piastri's not seeing this one coming. This is a move that Norris did a few times a couple of years ago to try and come through the field, and it's really effective if you're in a DRS train. Usually, on the exit of the corner, you get the DRS, and you have this really long straight up here, up towards the final chicane, and that's your best opportunity for a pass. But, as Piastri is within a second of Antonelli at this point, Norris isn't going to have the overspeed on the straight, so he has to get a bit creative with how he's going to pass his teammate, and he goes for it down the inside. It's a lovely move from a good chunk back, no lock-up, gets to the apex, and looks like he's got it done here, but he just washes slightly too far wide and gives that car's width back for Oscar on the exit, and Piastri takes it. So now we're on a drag race all the way up the straight. They're both looking to try and get the bit of a slipstream from Antonelli out front, who kind of hovers in the middle and gives Lando a bit more of an advantage by taking the racing line. So as we get towards the braking zone for the final chicane, Norris again is almost ahead, but he's not decisively ahead to be able to defend that inside line. What that means is that Oscar can just about hold on to that inside line and then throw his car down to make sure that that move isn't complete into the chicane. So it's a good bit of defence from Piastri, but it is meaning he's compromised on the exit. So now we go again with Lando, who knows now this is the last chance he'll get before we go back to the next lap. And it's also maybe the last chance he'll get in the whole Grand Prix, because Piastri is within a second of Antonelli. We're in a DRS train, and Lando's just shown his hand to Oscar as well. That turn 10 move, Oscar will be way more wary of it next time. So this is the crunch time for Norris, and I think he knows it, and it's why he's in desperation making a pretty bad mistake here. Looks to the inside, there's just no space. Then the track goes to the right-hand side, but this is really just in a straight line for Lando. It's a big mistake under pressure, and pressure that he's putting on himself really to make the pass. We're only talking about 4th or 5th. It's 2 points in a swing in the championship, so 4 points net between Norris and Piastri. Let's have a look on board, because again, I want to see this move. It's a fantastic dive between title rivals, and it's clean. It's great racing from the two of them all the way through. This hairpin, there's space up to the chicane. Now you can see them both trying to get that slipstream from Antonelli on the run up to the chicane. It's Norris who benefits more from it, sticks right there, but he's not done enough. So Piastri dives in, fantastic on the brakes from Oscar, and it looks like he's held it. So we get to this point, and once again, Piastri has the DRS because he's within that zone of Antonelli. So what do? Well, if you can go to the left-hand side, you're going to have, in the end, the inside for turn 1, once you go through that sweep of the right. And that will be your best chance of making a move. But they both know that, which is why Piastri defends it. So in the end, once we get to this point, you see Lando then jinking, looking like he's going to try and take that tiny bit of space, but it's not there. Really what he should have done, obviously, in hindsight, is just blast it to the right-hand side, try and make it stick. And with the way that the road moves to the right, it's a bit shorter distance as well. Could he have done that? Could he have got his whole car ahead of Piastri before the braking zone? Maybe, but it's a tough one. In the end, it doesn't really matter because it's just a complete misjudgment here from Lando. First of all, goes to the left. There is clearly no space for a car on the left. And second of all, doesn't back out of it either. Just trying to be just desperate, I think, just willing there to be a bit of space. And he just simply drives into the back of his teammate. There's absolutely no chance that this move is ever on. But it's a big misjudgment from Norris. There's the contact. And into the wall he goes, and that's your damage to your suspension as well. Norris out of the race. Piastri unscathed, which I think is crucial for the harmony at McLaren. Lando's mistake, he owned up to it, and he's the driver that lost out. And on board here with Piastri, you can see the contact is, luckily for him, right on that tyre, which may well have been unlucky, but it didn't puncture somehow. And Piastri could get back round to the pits and then have a precautionary tyre change as well as the safety car came out. So, bit of a bad one for Norris, this one. Pressure moment. He's thinking this is his one chance. He's had a great race, with much better race pace. But under pressure, we are just seeing these errors a couple of times now. The qualifying Q3 wasn't good for him. Made 2 errors on his final laps, ended up starting only 7th. He had better pace than Piastri, I think, through the whole weekend, but didn't use it in qualifying. When he had a chance in the race, made another big misjudgment. So time for Lando to get his head together again. 22 points now, the gap between himself and his teammate. And I think the fact that Oscar managed to stay on and get those points will just make McLaren breathe a little easier and there not be a massive fallout from this one.
I thought Oscar would move a bit more to the right, not to leave a gap, obviously. You know, I don't expect something to be easy from him, but I just misjudged it. You know, it was all my mistake. I take full blame, so I apologise to my whole team and to Oscar for attempting something like that.
Was defending the inside and then felt a small touch, and that's honestly all I have at the moment. So yeah, obviously a shame for the team, and it was a bit of a difficult race apart from that. But yeah, just not the easiest of weekends.
They of course know what it's like to have a bit of a fallout from a race in Canada as well. This was 2011. Lewis Hamilton trying to put a pass on Jenson Button, exactly the same part of the track. A little bit different because it's wet, and it's a little bit different because Hamilton this time gets an overlap with Button. So he is also about to be put in the wall, but this time, crucially, Lewis has his tyres alongside, so he has a bit of space there to go, rather than just simply driving into the back of his teammate. So this one was a lot more 50-50. To be honest, in the end, it looks like it might be a little bit more of a Jenson Button coming across, and Jenson said that he didn't see Lewis at the time, but you can see there is the space there. And at this point, really, Jenson needs to allow Lewis the space on the inside. But he keeps coming across. And that is another day where McLaren's found themselves tangling. And it was punctures o'clock for them that time. Hamilton out of the race, Button back in with one of his many pit stops on the way to one of the outstanding victories in Formula One history.
This situation is a situation that we know is not acceptable. At the same time, we appreciate that Lando immediately owned it. Raised his hand, as you said, and apologized to the team, which for us sort of reset the situation. I'm sure he has an important learning point coming from this race. He paid a price in the championship. Like I say, we appreciate his behavior straight after the accident, and we will go racing again.